Hello. So this is my first time ever filming a tutorial, let alone with a face cam, and I've been getting quite a few comments on my YouTube as well as my Instagram to do a tutorial on liminal space. And so today I'm finally gonna attempt to do a tutorial, and I have no idea how well it's gonna go, and it might fail, and I guess we'll just see how it goes. Okay, so first step is I'm gonna put on my glasses so I can see better. So this is what I'm gonna try and attempt to replicate, or what this whole thing is gonna be inspired by today. So yeah, let's just get started, I guess. Pressing Shift A, add a plane, and I'm just gonna scale it up a bit. And then Shift A and add a Bezier curve. So this is when it's gonna get a little bit fiddly, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and do that, basically. I'm gonna first also hide the plane so I just get a better view. I'm pressing 7. I can then get a top down view of what I'm working with. So going into edit mode, pressing tab. Say we'll work first on this. I'm just gonna use this tool and kind of play around with it until I get like that wiggly shape. So just have a play around with it, and I'm just gonna speed through until I'm happy with the shape of what I got. Okay, so obviously it's not perfect, but that's not much of a concern because of where we are going to be rendering it from. You're not going to be looking downwards anyway, so it's not really much of an issue. And also this weird part here will be hidden, most likely. So now I'm just going to reveal the plane again. Position it better. Just gonna scale it up a bit until I'm happy with the size. I'm also gonna elongate the back portion a bit as well, because in the photo it isn't a complete square. It is a little bit more elongated anyway. I think I want to also make it a little bit bigger. Okay, I'd say I'm pretty satisfied with how that's looking at the moment. So now I'm gonna go to the curve, and I'm going to go to geometry in the curve panel on the side, and go to extrude and just extrude it quite a bit. Doesn't matter if it overlaps the plane, because the scene we're setting up, you're not going to see the bottom of it anyway. So once I've extruded it, right click the curve and convert to a mesh, and then pressing A in edit mode, it selects all of it. And I'm going to press E and to extrude it just to the back like that. As you can see, it looks like clay right now. So all you have to do is where it's on this green icon, forgot what that one's called, go to the normal bit and just hit auto smooth, and then looks a lot better. So now that that's done, I'm gonna move it up a bit, and then hitting Shift and D, duplicate it, then move it over so it's like in the gaps, and just lower it a bit. I'm also gonna move it forward by quite a bit, like so. Also gonna just go to this edge and just push it back a bit. And I'm also gonna go to wireframe real quick and just either E and Z, that's on the plane, just push it up real quick, create that wall, and then also do the same on the back, E and Z, all the way to top meeting that bit. I'm gonna Shift D and move that to the top for the ceiling. And it also has like just normal ceiling there as well, so I'm gonna go to edit mode, edge select that one, E and X to push it all the way to the bottom. So as you can see, got like pretty much most of it done already. The next part we're going to tackle is this wall. So we're going to add, for this wall, you can see it's still got that curve, sort of like what we've done here, but less curvy. It's more of like a wave, I'd say. So to do that wall, we're going to Shift A and add another Bezier curve. You don't have to do too much. I'd say all we have to do is just press E and add another one, like a little play around. I think I'm gonna keep it quite just like wavy. It's not perfect, like in the image it doesn't look very symmetrical as it is anyway. That might be okay. Okay, we're gonna just give this one a go, see if we like the look of it. So going back to the extrude, I'm gonna extrude it not that much to match it up with the wall to ceiling. I think if I just do scale and Z, sort of like that, just push that in a bit more. Same with that. You're gonna press E and just add another one. So I'm also gonna move it in a bit more, because in the actual photo it's pretty small part of a room. There's not a lot in it. Just for the sake of being a little bit more precise, for the sake of being more precise, I'm just gonna move that in, even though it honestly does not matter because it's not gonna be in the shot that we render basically. So we're gonna convert this to a mesh, do auto smooth again. So next we're gonna add the two pillars, Shift A, mesh, cylinder. Move it to whereabouts. I'm gonna scale it a lot. Say about that much. Go into edit mode. I'm gonna select the top face. I'm just gonna pull it all the way till it meets the ceiling. And then gonna shade smooth, hit normals again, then bam, that's one pillar. Shift D. And just move that one to the front. So now I'm gonna try and get the composition with the camera, try find that sweet spot of composition. So I'm gonna Shift A, get in a camera. Okay, so I'm just gonna pull the screen apart so I get two views at once, and in this view I'm gonna hit 0 and do a little bit of some of this. And first of all, I'm gonna change the size of the camera. So I'm gonna turn the top one to 1080. I'd say the actual photo, like the reference I'm using, is pretty square itself, so square might be fine, but I might move it in a little bit depending on what I feel, basically. So clicking on the camera, I'm gonna open up this little tab here. I'm just gonna start playing around with the transform basically until I'm happy with how it looks. What I've realised is that this actually needs to move pretty far back. So I'm just going to adjust this by quite a bit. Yeah, I don't know if you would notice, this is a bit of a mess, but I did actually end up scaling the whole actual thing. I did scale an X and just kind of elongated the whole thing. So now we are going to go ahead and do the shading and texturing. Also, I'll be adding the actual water after I get all the tiles down. So this is a tile texture I'm going to use. You can literally use any white tile texture and it will probably be fine. Now that we've got our texture ready, I'm so sorry if you can hear the Hoover in the background. I don't know if it's picking it up, I might be fine. So here is the texture that we've just downloaded that we're going to use to pretty much texture the whole entire thing. First thing we're going to do is edit mode, a UV, smart UV project, and hit OK. I'm going to go into shading, hit new, and then pressing on the Principled BSDF, I'm going to hit Control Shift key. Go into wherever you put the texture. I put it here, select all of it. So then going into UV editing, select all of it, and then on the UV editing section, I'm going to press S to scale and scale it all the way up until I'm happy with the size of the tiles. And it looks like the floor, ceiling and walls are pretty tiny compared to everything else, but I want to keep it pretty much the same. Pretty happy with that. As you can see, this one is a little bit funky. It's a little bit more stretched out. So all you have to do is just, no, not that one. Pull whatever direction needs pulling. So now we just got to repeat the same process as we did with all that to everything else. Okay, now I'd say it's time to actually move on to the water texture. So I am just gonna duplicate this section of the plane, Shift D as per usual, and move it just above the bottom ledge. I'm gonna go into shading, I'm gonna cross that one out and click a new one. So this is the water texture that I basically use for any project that involves water basically. So first I'm gonna set metallic to about a 0.2 roughness all the way down, clear coat roughness all the way down, and transmission all the way up. And I also want to choose a colour that's going to be pretty similar, something like that. So next I'm going to add a bump node by pressing Shift A and a bump. I'm going to plug that into normal and set strength to 0.2. Then the next part, which is what's gonna add that water texture, and that's gonna be Musgrave texture. Plug the height into height, and I'm gonna set scale up. I'm also gonna set detail to 10.6 and dimension to 1.2. Vacunarity, I'm not even gonna, yeah, that's how you say it. 1.72. And scale, I'll set it at about 6.8 for now. And then while Musgrave Textures is selected, I'm gonna press Ctrl T, and then that will add the map in a texture coordinate. And instead of generated into vector, we are gonna plug in object. Next, it's time the lighting and just seeing it all come together basically. So in the render settings, we're gonna set it to cycles and set this to GPU compute. You need to make sure you do that. It's just a better option. It will render a lot quicker. You can do whatever max samples, minimum samples you want. I'm just going to keep it like that for now. I might change it. I might lower the max samples by quite a bit. So next, in the camera view, I'm going to hit this to rendered. So I am going to press Shift A, light, and it looks like the sun is pointed into the room. So we are going to add a sun as well. Just point it, I'm going to rotate it so it looks as though it's almost pointing at that one. But in the actual lighting settings, we are going to up it by quite a bit. I'm also going to change it to like more of a sun colour, so you know, a little bit more on the yellow side. I'm going to go back into shading, make the water more blue. The blue is not quite like the photo. Also gonna up the scale of the Musgrave texture a bit. Also lower the detail quite a bit as well. It's not as harsh. So I'd say that's pretty much done now. I'm gonna go ahead and render it in cycles and also do a little bit of editing on Photoshop, and then I'll show you the result. So this is it, pretty much done. Obviously you can do whatever you want, you can have fun with it. If you do decide on making it yourself by following this tutorial, you can tag me on Instagram. My socials are in my banner on my channel, but I'll also link them down below. Thank you so much for watching, and leave a comment below if you want to see more like this, or if you prefer just the the sped up versions, let me know. So thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.